It's the coldest night of the season in Chicago, but those coming into the United Center tonight have the hottest tickets in town. Not even sub-zero temperatures can keep a capacity crowd away from this one, because the Houston Rockets are here tonight to challenge the Chicago Bulls. Good evening to our Chicago viewers and to our viewers on the Superstation quite literally across the world tonight. Welcome to WGN's coverage of Chicago Bulls basketball. I'm Dan Roan at the United Center, and we will warm you up for the Bulls and the Rockets tonight. The beast of the East against the best in the West. It ought to be a terrific game, and you'll see it all right here. Both these teams warmed up last night with road victories. The Bulls playing on the road just 90 miles north of town against Chris Ford and the Milwaukee Bucks. A fabulous first half for Milwaukee, and especially for the rookie Ray Allen, working hard on the offensive board here. A 26-18 Bucks lead, and was the big dog ever barking last night. Glenn Robinson, terrific game for him. Bucks led by as many as 10. Robinson, a huge second quarter, and it was 61-57 Milwaukee at halftime. But Phil Jackson's crew got it turned around some in the third quarter, thanks in part to Scottie Pippen. Off the bounce, he scored 9 of the Bulls' first 11 in the third quarter. And Michael Jordan wound up with a game-high 33 for Chicago. Just a one-point lead there, and then Dennis Rodman took over. On the wing, running the break. 15-2 Bulls spurt really got the game back in their possession. Dennis, season-high 16 points and 26 rebounds. Bulls win 116-101. Meantime, Houston buried the Sixers last night, so the Rockets and Bulls set to slug it out here in Chicago tonight. And you can expect some heavy punches from both sides in this one. Tonight's main event is likely to be Charles versus Dennis. Rodman's already called him out, wanting Barkley to wear a dress if he doesn't wrestle away the NBA rebounding title. The response to that was vintage Chuck.
You know, Dennis is sending me messages because he's a nitwit, but he can have the rebounding title. The main thing is just, hey, I can't just stand around and suck on my thumb, and if I'm not going to score, I got to make myself useful somehow.
Useful hardly describes Charles Barkley's contributions to the Rockets. Roughly 20 points and 15 rebounds a game. He'd hate to hear this, but in many ways, Sir Charles is Rodman. In his rebounding, in his twisted perspective on life, they've even both been suspended already this season. As was Rodman in Chicago, Barkley was brought to Houston to fill a need and to stir things up, to give the Rockets a harder edge, as if they weren't strong enough already.
Olajuwon again working. Oh, left ear's on the floor. It's a technical knockout.
There may never have been a more graceful big man than Hakeem Olajuwon, and few have played the game at a higher level. NBA titles in '94 and '95, and he's once again the team scoring leader. Only a fickle heartbeat has slowed him this year, but Hakeem's back healthy now. Clyde Drexler has also tasted champagne in Houston, part of the '95 title team, after being traded from Portland. The glide is slowing down some. He can't do it on command anymore. But he's put up some big numbers this year, and he'd love to do it again tonight. The Bulls' list of options is shorter when Houston comes to town. Bill Weddington's value is diminished because Hakeem can get out to cover him on the baseline. That places even more of the offensive burden on Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. Tonight, the Worm and Sir Charles will share the spotlight, but the Bulls need to watch out for that dream shake. Here's assistant coach Frank Hamlin with tonight's key play.
The way the play starts out, Hakeem will set a screen on Drexler. Point guard will hit Drexler. All right, and the point guard cuts to the corner. All right, now Drexler's on the ball with the wing. He now throws the ball into Hakeem Olajuwon, giving him this area here to work individually. Charles immediately attacks the basket where he can hit him with a pass, or he's in great rebound position. Turn 2, and you'll see this approximately 20 times Saturday night.
And the other plays that the Houston Rockets like to run involve the same situation and set, but different people in different positions. Frank says you can expect the Rockets to wear out the paint on the left side of the lane here tonight. And, of course, they're a much more dangerous team this year than they were last year with the addition of Charles Barkley. And the fact is, Houston's done very well against the Bulls over the years anyway. Among the teams that have given the Bulls the most problems since the championship run began back in the 90-91 season, you see Houston and San Antonio as the only two teams with winning records against the Bulls. Houston has won 7 out of 12, and they will be a handful here tonight. Right now we get on courtside and pick it up with Johnny Kerr, who's standing by. He'll be the analyst as usual for the game. And John, all these boxing analogies tonight, these two heavyweights about to slug it out. But does the hype outweigh what we're going to see on the floor? All we're getting really, as far as true basketball meaning, I guess, is just a good night's entertainment out of these two teams.
Well, you know what I think? If anybody goes overboard on any of the plays that are made tonight, it's really going to be amazing. These guys are the highest paid players in the game. These are the superstars. There's 6 guys in this game tonight. We're voted top 50 players of all time. Robert Parrish, Michael, and Scotty. Drexler, Barkley, and Olajuwon. So they are the guys that are supposed to make these plays. This is what they look for, the big game. Yes, I think it's going to be a good one.
It really will be fun, Johnny. And Dennis Rodman and Charles Barkley, there's already been some cross-country conversation between these two guys. What do you expect from those two in this one?
Well, I know Dennis has got a new pair of shoes he's going to be wearing tonight. I hope he comes out with the pair that doesn't have the high heels on them. If he does, we're in deep trouble, and then Barkley may have that one-upmanship.
All right, John, do some more research like that before the game starts. We'll look forward to hearing you at the bottom of the hour tonight.
All right, kiddo.
Johnny Kerr down at courtside. You know, Houston's going to be dogged by the Bulls defense all night, and Randy Salerno has been dogging the Rockets ever since they walked into the building tonight. He's standing by at courtside as well. Randy?
Dan just caught up with Charles. He is wearing the flats tonight, so don't have to worry about any heels on his side. He's about the only one close to Michael Jordan in terms of commanding an audience, and when he sat down tonight, he was quickly surrounded by media. That bet was on the topic of people's minds, or the alleged bet, whether he will wear a dress if he loses the rebounding title to Rodman. Well, don't look for finding out Charles's dress size anytime soon, win or lose that bet.
I'm glad that we got a good team, and things are going well so far.
Any rivalry between you and Dennis in this rebounding title?
Man, I have not said anything about Dennis. That's for you guys to have fun with. Dennis been doing all the talking.
So you have nothing to say to him, really?
No, I just play, man.
So we wanted Dennis's response. Dan, here's what we got. Or actually, maybe it was more like this. Still not talking.
All right, Randy, thanks. We'll get back to you in a few minutes, and back with more from the United Center right after a break, including Phil Jackson and a look at what Houston did to Philadelphia last night. All that and much more when we continue on the Bullseye right after this.
Bullseye, brought to you by the Stars of Chicagoland, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. By Wendy's, the best hamburgers and a whole lot more. And by your local Chicagoland and Northern Indiana GMC dealers.
To look from behind at our broadcast position here at the United Center, people filing in at the lower level here in the UC, and they're going to see a good one tonight, the Bulls and the Houston Rockets. Right now, back downstairs to Randy Salerno.
Dan, we caught up with Hakeem a short time ago, and, you know, with Luke out of the lineup, he's going to see a variety of people coming his way tonight. We asked him if he was licking his chops about the prospect of not having another giant inside with him, and his response basically was he's more worried about the little guys.
You have quick hands. You know, you can't be careless with the ball. They're very quick, and they make everybody walk. So it's not going to be an easy game.
No, it won't be an easy game for either team. Philadelphia did have an easy one last night, though, on the road at Philadelphia, which was really struggling, and the Rockets went in there and absolutely wiped them out. The GMC game highlights from the Core State Spectrum in Philadelphia. Charles sharpening up those elbows for the Sixers, having to deal with Allen Iverson last night. Nice move in the paint for him. A close game early, but not for long because of Clyde Drexler. His hottest night of the season. He was 13 of 18 shooting field goals, burned it up from beyond the stripe, and a 120-99 win for the Rockets in that one. Another key game last night in Los Angeles. Pat Riley trying to regain his road magic against the Lakers. Big man dominating early. Alonzo Mourning off the Danilovich miss, and Shaq back on the other end. Lakers were able to pull away in this one. No answer for the big man who had 34 in the game and played some defense too. He spiked the ball and Tim Hardaway here And the Lakers win this one 94-85. Morning had 31 in a losing cause for the Miami Heat. As we said, another premier center on display here tonight in Chicago. Akeem Olajuwon certain to cause big problems for Phil Jackson, especially with Luke Longley's injury situation. For more, let's go courtside to the coach, standing by with Wayne Larrabee.
Thanks very much, Dan Rowan. Phil Jackson joins us courtside. And Phil, middle of the season, Houston Rockets, everybody's been talking about it. How much can we gauge from this game?
Well, I don't know how much we can gauge from it as far as, is this going to be a finals teams? Is this going to be a critical game for us to measure ourselves against the West opponent? First of all, Luke Longley is not going to play, and that means a big deal to us. But it's an important game. It's a match. It's something that gives us kind of a marking asterisk game or date in which we want to perform well and they want to perform well, so it should make for a great contest.
Should make for a little extra intensity, I would imagine. Now, how about the matchups? How are you going to go on this ball game? And especially, let's start with Olajuwon in the middle, since he apparently is the biggest problem.
Olajuwon's going to be the problem without Luke there. We're going to have to be mismatched. At some point, I'm probably going to have to put Dennis Rodman on Olajuwon and take him off Charles Barkley and try somebody else on Charles Barkley, which is going to be a problem. We're going to have to double team him, which means we'll be in rotation. That always hurts your rebounding, so we know that we're going to have a problem there in a way. If Clyde Drexler can be held down by Michael or Harper, if they have to play him, and or Barkley can be held down by Dennis Rodman, who had just an outstanding game for us last night, we're going to be okay and just let Hakeem have to do all the scoring. We would be in pretty good stead, but I anticipate that that's where they're going to peck at us, because this is a team that picks at the scab till you bleed.
If there is any difference between these two teams, most people around the NBA, Phil, feel that your bench would be the difference in a 7-game series. Now, again, your bench a little thinner tonight without Luke Longley starting, but nonetheless, your bench has played very well throughout the season.
Really a tribute to our team play has been our bench, and their bench, obviously Willis is a great player off the bench for him, but Kevin last night didn't play. I don't know if he's going to play tonight. I imagine he's going to be a game time decision. And they have some young players there that are still proving themselves. Brent Price is coming back from an injury, and when they get those guys back in the line, they'll have a better bench. But right now, with our bench performing like it is, we have a lot of confidence in it.
And I guess the one guy that you would double down off of would be Matt Maloney, who's played pretty well to the point guard position, but if you're going to have to leave anyone, I imagine he'd be the guy you'd leave, right?
Well, he would, but he's shooting, really a high percentage from three-point. This is what Houston's made their fame as in their championships, as getting the ball into Hakeem, making you double team, kicking the ball back out to three-point shooters and making you pay with guys like Ely, who is a very good three-point shooter, and Scotty's going to have to some way or other help us defensively against the other guys and stay attached to Ely, who can surprise you with 20-point night.
Well, Phil, best of luck. We're all looking forward to it. Should be a good game.
Thanks, Wayne. We are too.
All right, Phil Jackson, the head coach of the Bulls. Let's send it back upstairs to Dan Rowan.
All right, Wayne, thank you very much. It sounds like Phil may have diffused some of this Barkley-Rodman animosity by saying he may put Rodman on Akeem Olajuwon at some defensive points during this game tonight. Terry Armour, the Bulls beat writer for the Chicago Tribune, joins us down at courtside. Terry, are we all making too much of this Rodman-Barkley thing, or is it going to be that much fun to watch tonight?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. The thing about it is that Charles Barkley and Dennis Rodman aren't making a big deal out of it, even though Charles was reminded tonight that Dennis had issued that challenge where Charles would have to wear a dress if Dennis won the rebounding title and vice versa. And, of course, Charles said that that's not a good idea because Dennis doesn't mind wearing dresses. So besides that, it's all in fun. Dennis is really looking forward to it. Charles is looking forward to it, so it should be a pretty marquee matchup.
And what does Jason Williams wear a shift then? Because he's one of the top 3 rebounders, too. In fact, he might win the championship.
Yeah, the thing about Jason was injured for a while, and that kind of his standing as far as being in the standings for the rebounding didn't change much. If he plays a lot, I think Jason will be in the hunt down the stretch. But like Dennis always says, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And Dennis was, down about 4th or 5th at the beginning of the season, and right now it's basically between he and Charles.
Hey, we talked about all these superstars. What about one of the Bulls bench players who I know you're running a bit of a campaign for, Randy Brown?
Yeah, we're trying to see if Randy Brown is interested in getting in the slam dunk contest. Talked to a few of his teammates yesterday about it, and they think that Randy Brown would have as good a chance as anybody because he's got some hops. You see that left-handed dunk right there. And, of course, this classic one over Eldon Campbell. They really feel that Randy would have a good shot at winning the slam dunk contest. Randy, however, says that he can't do any of that 320 or 760 crap when he's dunking, so he doesn't know if he'll really be in the hunt when it comes down to if he got into it, if he could beat anybody who could jump from the free throw line or someone who could jump over a chair. So he said if he gets a lot of pressure, then maybe he'll do it. But right now, no way.
Yeah, looking pretty good so far this year in game dunk situations. Thanks, Terry. We'll talk to you later.
All right, D.
Terry Armour down courtside from the Chicago Tribune. Coming up, the Bulls caught up in the World Wide Web. You know, for a long time, the Chicago Bulls have been basketball's version of America's team. Well, now they've transcended that at this point in time. They belong to the world in many respects, and we'll show you what we mean right after a commercial break. Dan Roan back at the United Center. This will be the Bulls' 455th consecutive home court sellout. 10 years in a row they sold games out here in Chicago, and for the last 2 years they've sold out every road game as well. The point is, Bulls basketball has kind of transcended the sport at this point, and their appeal now transcends America as well. There was never much doubt Michael Jordan would one day change basketball as we knew it, but few could have predicted how far-reaching that change would be. His airness has taken the NBA on a transcontinental flight.
Jordan's name, I think, is the name that carried the NBA through on that global level.
In Japan, many people love NBA.
This new market popularity is a league-wide thing, but there's absolutely no doubt about who's responsible.
Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan. I like Michael Jordan from Chicago Bulls.
We have Fuji TV coming. We have media from Croatia, and as well as Canada and all over Europe. It's really just an international event. Anytime Michael Jordan does anything, it seems to be an international event.
The Bulls Blitz knows no media boundaries. In addition to the television coverage, Bulls junkies can also blanket themselves with print publications. There's even one that explains the triangle offense. If magazines aren't enough, anyone connected to the internet can spend hours with the Bulls on NBA.com. Michael is featured as often as you'd expect, and if you want to catch up with game highlights, all you have to do is point and click.
Here goes his open right side. They go underneath. Whoa, my God! Oh, my goodness! Randy Brown, are you kidding me?
The Bulls are so popular, even equipment manager John Ligmanowski has his own home page.
People right from all over the world and stuff, and it's pretty interesting that people are interested in the Bulls.
Of course, having a few international players on the team doesn't hurt.
People are really interested. They're getting probably as good as NBA exposure's ever been down there, because it's something that's relatively new and just starting, but people are really getting into it. Obviously having me on the team makes a big difference.
I've gotten letters from people in Japan, Taiwan, Italy, obviously Canada, so it's pretty interesting.
What's also fascinating is the amount of Bulls merchandise on the international market. And where you find it.
The other day I brought a letter up to the team room that we have upstairs. It's kind of our inner sanctum, and put a letter with a picture on it, a guy who went to Bhutan, which is like one of the most remote places in the world. And this Buddhist came out of the woods with a spinning wheel and had a Bulls hat on.
What you can't find around the world, you can always bring back from America.
Right now, even my younger brother, I think when I go back home, he's expecting me to bring him Michael Jordan sneakers, otherwise I'll be in trouble.
Jordan himself has made a few trips overseas, but MJ isn't the only Bull known worldwide.
Dennis Rodman is the thing about Germany, is the #1 star, maybe even bigger than Michael Jordan.
Dennis actually took his book tour abroad, and of course, he stopped in Germany.
I went with Dennis last September for 3 days to Germany. There were thousands of people in the street, long lines when he signed his book. Unbelievable.
So the basketball seed has been planted, and long after Michael and Dennis retire, the NBA will continue to flourish everywhere. Exactly right. To give you an idea of the international appeal of this game tonight, we're feeding 8 different countries in addition to the United States: Argentina, Australia, France, Greece, Hong Kong, Canada, Mexico, and Spain, all getting a part of this game tonight, as you are too here on WGN. We're back to wrap things up in the Bullseye right after this.
Bullseye. brought to you by the Stars of Chicagoland, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. By Wendy's, the best hamburgers and a whole lot more. And by your local Chicagoland and Northern Indiana GMC dealers.
We're closing in on tip time here at the United Center in Chicago, but before we send it on courtside to Wayne and Johnny, let's check in one more time with Randy Salerno.
Dan, a little illustration on how old these two teams are getting. There's enough Bengay and icy hot fumes in the air to make your eyes water down here. It's unbelievable. One of those veterans, Clyde Drexler, we caught up with him a little while ago and asked him if he looked forward to these games against Michael Jordan, his longtime Warrior opponent, and going against the other top team in the NBA.
You don't even think about it for 1 second. I think what you think about is this is another game on the schedule. It's another game that you like to get better as a group. And hopefully if we play well enough, we can win the game.
Well, our next telecast of Bulls basketball comes your way January 23rd in Chicago and across the country on the Superstation against the team most NBA teams hate to play, the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that Mike Fratello defense. January 23rd at Cleveland, the Bulls and the Cavaliers. You'll see it right here on WGN at 6:30 Central Time from the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Bulls and Cavs. But first things first, Bulls and Rockets coming your way next on WGN. Thanks for watching the pregame. Wayne and Johnny right with you in a moment.